Off the rugged coast of Scotland lies a tiny island, about 2 miles long and 1 mile wide. It looks harmless, but for nearly 50 years, this patch of land was so poisoned by anthrax that stepping foot on it meant almost certain death. This is the story of Anthrax Island. Anthrax is one of the deadliest bacteria known to man. It's caused by Bacillus anthracis, a rod-shaped bacterium that produces hardy spores, capable of surviving in soil, animal hides, or even wool for decades. It infects through the skin, the lungs, or by eating things like contaminated meat. Inhalation anthrax can kill within days, and its spores can lie dormant in the earth for decades, and even up to a century or more under the right conditions. Symptoms can range from a black sore on the skin, or violent stomach illnesses, all the way to flu-like breathing trouble that suddenly collapses the body, making it the perfect killer if it ended up in the wrong hands. In 1942, Britain feared that Nazi Germany might unleash biological weapons, and Churchill's government wanted a weapon of their own, one that could cripple an enemy's food supply and break their army from within. The plan, codenamed Operation Vegetarian, called for dropping linseed cakes laced with anthrax spores over German farmland. Livestock would soon start dying in great numbers, and a famine would soon follow. Millions of these contaminated cakes were secretly manufactured, but the mission was abandoned before use, and in 1945, the stockpiles were destroyed in massive bonfires. But before they could know if the plan would work, scientists needed somewhere isolated, expendable, and far from human settlement. Gruinard Island, uninhabited, windswept, and sitting just off Scotland's north coast. It was chosen, and from there on out, its fate was sealed. In the summer of 1942, the island was requisitioned by the Ministry of Supply. Scientists from the top-secret Porton Down facility brought over about 80 sheep, tethering them in rows on a grassy shore.
Was off the police, and later we'll be seeing how they were hooded after the trial to stop transfer.
Nearby, crews prepared bombs filled with Falum anthrax, one of the most lethal anthrax strains out there. When the charges detonated, the sheep began to collapse, some staggering, some gasping, others dropping dead in silence. Their bodies were piled into pits and burned in crude incinerators. The entire experiment was captured on film, frame by frame.
This was, of course, something that had never been demonstrated before. The later trials were mainly concerned with
showing gas-masked men standing over twitching animals as smoke rose into the sky. The footage proved beyond doubt. Anthrax worked, but it worked too well. The spores clung to grass, soil, and stone, and any battlefield hit with them would be inhabitable for generations. When the war ended in 1945, Gruinard Island was still crawling with invisible killers, and the promise to return the land to its owner was quietly denied. Scientists admitted that the anthrax spores might never leave. The island was sealed off with quarantine notices. Bold red warning signs lined the shore, declaring the ground deadly. For decades, Gruinard Island became known simply as Anthrax Island. Locals told grim stories, that birds avoided it, that even the grass looked wrong. And true or not, the reputation stuck. The only visitors were Porton Down researchers in protective suits, who confirmed again and again that the soil remained toxic. By the early 80s, most of Britain had forgotten Gruinard, and in 81, a mysterious group calling themselves the Dark Harvest Commando reminded the public. They claimed to have landed on the island, dug up 300 pounds of contaminated soil, and smuggled it off. That same day, a sealed package of soil was dumped at the gates of Porton Down. Tests confirmed it contained live anthrax spores from Gruinard. Another sample was left near Blackpool, just as the Conservative Party conference was underway. The second package contained soil matching Gruinard, but no live spores. Whether Dark Harvest truly removed hundreds of pounds of soil or staged a bluff hardly mattered. The government could no longer ignore Anthrax Island. In 1986, Britain finally launched one of the largest biological cleanups in history. Over 4 years, 280 tons of formaldehyde diluted in seawater were sprayed across Gruinard's 485 acres. In the most contaminated zones, topsoil was scraped away and buried deep. The treatment poisoned seaweed, crabs, and barnacles around the island, but slowly, the anthrax began to fade. By 1987, a test flock of sheep survived unharmed, the first sign of safety in 45 years. And on April 24, 1990, Junior Defense Minister Michael Newbert landed by helicopter, tore down the warning signs, and declared the island safe. The heirs of the original owner bought it back for £500. The exact price promised nearly half a century earlier. Even after decontamination, Gruinard never lost its darker name. Anthrax Island lingered in headlines and in local memory, and scientists kept testing the soil, and while results showed it was safe, trust was harder to rebuild. Many locals still refused to set foot there. To them, the spores weren't gone, they were just waiting. However, in March 2022, something would happen that still to this day no one can explain. A wildfire scorched the island from end to end. Officials claimed that there was no danger, but the images of smoldering blackened land reignited its old reputation. A cursed place where death once soaked into the earth. Gruinard Island may now be free of anthrax, but its legacy is permanent, and for nearly 50 years, one of Britain's own islands stood as proof of how long a single biological weapon can haunt the land. And for many, it will always be Anthrax Island. Hello everyone. As always, if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching another one of my videos. If you're new around here, welcome, and I hope you enjoyed as well. I post new videos every Friday or Saturday around 6 to 7 EST. If you did enjoy, please like, comment, and maybe even consider subscribing. It really helps push these videos out there, and it gets them in front of more people. Any feedback or recommendations, drop them in the comments and I'll get to them there. If you want to watch something similar, check out my last video I did on China's one-child policy. Quickly before I leave, I started a shorts channel where I will be uploading all of my short-form content from now on, because I want to keep this channel mainly for long-form purposes. But definitely go check that out. I'll have it linked at the top of the description. Alright, that's all I have for this one. Thanks again for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.